Welcome back to the Crochet Chronicles with our friends over at Joanne.com. It's week number 2 of our stitch along, and this one here is a really interesting stitch. This is called the chevron chain stitch. So what you're going to notice with this is that I did the chevron in 2 panels. So it can actually be done in 2 panels, but the pattern has us doing it as one. So you'll notice that it will go up in one direction and then turn and go in the other direction like this halfway through it. So that's pretty awesome. So I was really quite excited about that. My tip that I want to leave for you is that in this particular diagram, you'll notice that your eyes want to go. So for example, the first time you're looking at it, you'll see that the lines are grabbing your attention and going in this direction, but when you physically crochet it, it's actually going in the opposite direction. The diagrams provide an optical illusion for what's actually happening. So if you feel like you're crocheting in the wrong direction compared to the diagram, it's not you, it's just an optical illusion. So without further ado, let's head down into the studio. Let's get started right away. So let's begin week number 2, and we have our instructions just like you see, and what we're only doing today is that we're doing this large chevron off to one side and then shifting back over to the other side. So it's a really kind of a neat process in order for us to do it. It's actually really pretty easy once you start seeing it, and you'll start seeing the waves picking up. So as we're beginning along, you have a lot of written instructions. Again, those chain 2 spaces add a lot more words, and what we have is that we have a diagram just like so. So the wonderful thing about this particular pattern is that it's kind of a mirror opposite to each other. So when you're going to work on this pattern, you will start seeing that your eyes will just naturally on this section just kind of leaning to the left if you're right-handed, and what's happening is actually the waves are actually moving in this direction. It's an optical illusion. So if you feel like, okay, well this chart looks like it's leaning this way, but I'm actually looking like going this way, it should be going this way. So the other opposite is true here. You'll see that your eyes appear to be wanting to go this way, but when you go to crochet this, you'll actually be going this way. So if you look at the example, that's kind of proof of that happening. So I've actually done this, so I know that's true too. So you're going to begin to pick up, and it's just like we've been reading the charts before. Where there's chain 2 spaces, you're going to keep those in. We're going to be just covering that as we're just processing each section. So if you want to look at the diagrams, you can see where the designer has put in this red line of showing you what the repeats are when you're going all the way across. She's done it in a way that it makes it easy to remember. So if you look at these boxes, you'll be able to count that. So when you're working on patterns like this, you want to be conscientious to what the starting of something is. Like you see that there's 3 single crochets here, and then you kind of want to look at the end and kind of see where things are working out in the end to keep yourself balanced. This particular one, because of the slant, it has an optical illusion that you feel like you're gaining stitches, so you got to trust in your stitch work and the counts in order to make that work. So without further ado, we're going to grab our crochet hook and just start pounding this one out, and let's get started right now. As we begin this section, we're going to do rows number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and those are not part of the repeat, but 5 all the way through 16 is the repeat. So here we go. So we're gonna just chain up 1. So row number 1 is just 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way to the other side. Now this is video number 2. We've already been doing this in video number 1. When you get all the way to the other side, just turn your work, chain 1, and single crochet yourself all the way back, and that will conclude row number 2. So please do rows number 1 and 2, 1 single crochet in each. I'm coming to the end of row number 2, and I want to switch my color back to purple. So I want to actually introduce it now. Not back, I'm actually going to put it in. So I'm going to create a slip knot and just join it, and I can just weave in my tails later and I can finish. So I'm coming up all the way to the end, and on the last one I want to reintroduce my purple in the solid color, contrast A, and then pull it through and then turn our work and then get ready for rows number 3 and 4. Let's begin. We're gonna chain up 1 and do 1 single crochet in the first one and the next 2. So there's 3 right in the very beginning that are all solids, and then we're going to chain 2, skip 1, and single crochet into the next, chain 2, and then skip 1, single crochet into this one plus the next 2. So there's 3 in a row. Do you see that? Now chain 2, skip just 1, single crochet in the next, chain 2, skip just 1, and single crochet in the next 3. So I want you to do that all the way across. This is row number 3 and that's what it looked like, and I would actually scan this to make sure that it's going to look right when you get to the other side, because it's kind of worse if you get across and then you realize you may have accidentally skipped too many or just didn't space it enough. So I'll see you at the end of this row. This is row number 3. When you get all the way to the other side and you're following the stitch counts, the last 4 are each a single crochet. Okay, so that's perfect for me, and again I would scan my eyes to make sure that all the spacing looks right. When I was doing my test trials I was screwing that up and I could tell right away instead of having to start and then realize I have to go back. So row number 4, just chain up 1 and you're going to match it just like you had before when you were doing this. So this is a return pass, so it's 1 single in each of the singles, and if there's a chain 2 space just match it with the chain 2 and jump and single crochet into the one after it. Please do this for row number 4. When you get back to the other side just match the stitches, and then on the last stitch let's switch our main color back into play. Make sure that your yarn strands don't get too tangled, and we're going to do that next. So just carrying it up and pull through. Let's turn our work and get ready now for rows number 5 and 6, and now this is starting the repeat. Okay, this is the start of the repeat, rows number 5 through 16. So just going to chain up 1 and we're doing 1 single crochet in the first 3. So 1, 2, 3, and you will notice that the next one is a space, so you want to drop down right in front like we did in week number 1. We're going to single crochet in the next one, and then the space is next, and drop down. So here's the thing that you need to watch for. Now you need to put that chain 2 in there. So chain 2, skip the first one of these grouping of 3. So just skip the first one, go to the second one over and do that one plus the one right after, and the space is next, so you must drop down. Single crochet in the next one and then drop down again because there's a space, and then what are you gonna do after the pair? You have to chain 2. So 1, 2, and then see this grouping of 3? You're skipping the first one of the 3 and single crocheting in the next 2, and you're gonna continue all the way across like that. Okay, so you can see the pairs are now starting to appear. So let's please do this all the way across. This is row number 5. When you get to the other side you'll see all the pairs. Isn't that awesome? And then the very end we're just chaining 2, skipping the first one out and just single crocheting the final 3. Now this is the end of row number 5. Let's just turn our work and let's just match the stitches that we see. No biggie, right? So it's 1 single in each of the stitches, and if there's a chain 2 space just match it with the chain 2, which I'm about to do now. So there's a space, so chain 2 it and then just jump over to the first stitch and then fill those in. So let's do this all the way now for row number 6, and let's continue our journey from that point. So going all the way to the other side, chain, I don't even know why I'm saying chain, but going to the other side, and we are going to then just pick up our purple and then begin row number 7. So let's turn our work and let's get ourselves ready for number 7. Let's begin row number 7. We're gonna chain up 1 and we're gonna do a single crochet in the first 3. So let's count those together. So 1, 2, and 3, and this is where our first space is gonna go into play. So chain 2 and then skipping 1 and single crochet in the next 2 after that. So my counts are right because the drop down is next. And here's where it's going to start leaning off in the other direction that you feel it's an optical illusion. So it drops down. So remember what I said about the drop down. You're going to have to chain 2, 1, 2, skip the first one coming out of after the chain. So you see that there's 5. So you're gonna skip the first one out and go to the next one. Just like this. Chain 2, skip the next one, and then single crochet in the next 2 after that. Do you want to see a tip? See this first one here? See how it lines up to this one here? This is when it's starting to lean over. You're going to notice that the stepping, that this one here when it leans over will match the one that's up above, which makes it lean to the right. So let's begin another section. So you're just gonna drop down, and then after you drop down you need to create a space. So chain 2, skipping the first one, single crochet in the next, chain 2, skip in the next, and then single crocheting in the next two. And again, like what I said, see this one here, it matches the second one here, so you'll notice that it'll match, and then drop down again. So please do this. This is row number 7. It's not a hard row, it's just a matter of just getting yourself oriented so that you can do it right. Let's do number 7 together. When you get to the end of row number 7, you have the final drop down, and then you're still chaining 2, skipping the first one out, and then just single crochet in the final 2. Row number 8, just turning your work, you're going to match it just like you do. It's a return pass, so chaining up 1, match the single crochets with all of the stitches below, and if there is a chain 2 space, just chain 2 it and jump, and then single crochet and then stitches after that. Please do this. This is the return pass number 8. I'm coming up to the end of number 8, and I'm just going to change in the last one back to the gray, and we're gonna get ready and do number 9 and 10. So let's begin. We're gonna just chain up 1, and we'll do 1 single crochet in each of the next 3, the first 3 I should say, and then we drop. So go down and come down just like so, and then we're going to then chain 2, skip the first one out, so there's a grouping of 3, so skip the first one and go to the middle one and start single crocheting that one and its friend, and then drop down, single crochet the next one, and then drop again, and this is your pair. So after the pair you have to apply your chain 2. So remember what I showed you when we were doing the second one of this going across, see how it matches? That's what gives the illusion of it going to the right, right? So chain 2, skip the first one out, there's a grouping of 3, so skip the first one, go to the middle one and do the next 2 singles, drop, single crochet in the next, drop, chain 2 and skip the first one and then go to the next 2 and continue along. So this is row number 9, and now you really can start seeing it come together, right? So let's continue this, and I'll see you at the end of row number 9. When you get to the end of row number 9, you are not going to do the chain 2 space at all, because you're only actually on the first section of a pair. So you just immediately just single crochet in the next 2, which is the last 2. So you will notice that the pairs did shift over. So then going to row number 10, turn your work and just match exactly what you have. So chain 1, 1 single crochet into each stitch, and if there's a chain 2 space, just chain 2 and jump. Please do this then for row number 10. I'm coming up to the end of row number 10, and the last stitch, of course, we are going to then switch back to contrast A, which in my case is purple. Turn our work and let's go and look at row number. So let's begin number 11. We're going to chain up 1 and we'll put 4 single crochets in a row. So 1, 2, 3 and 4, and the space is next. So we're gonna drop, and then we're gonna apply the spaces right after the drop. So chain 2, skip the first one out, so you see the grouping of 5 like we had, so skip the first one, go to the second, chain 2, skip the next one and single crochet in the next 2 after that. So you're providing your space. Drop again and then provide your space. So chain 2, skip the first one out, single crochet, chain 2, skip the next one, single crochet in the final 2 before dropping down in the next one. Pretty cool, right? Let's continue that. That is row number 11, and I'll see you at the end of that row. When you come up to the end of row number 11, you are still going to do your drop downs, and you have to make sure that you have 2 spaces left over by the end of the row. So chaining 2, skipping 1, single crochet in the next, chain 2, skipping 1 and single crochet in the last 2, just like that. Okay, so you will have this. So when you look at these, you'll see how these prongs kind of work together. So you're just created, you only had one here, but then you're gonna have another one here and then a new one there to keep the slide going onto the side. So turning your work, row number 12, just what you know, you're just gonna fill in the spaces, and then with single crochets in the single crochets, and then if it's a space, a chain 2 space, keep it as a chain 2 space, and that would be row number 12, working your way across. So do that all the way across. I'll see you at the end of this row. So I've now just come up to the end of number 12. I'm just going to switch back to gray, and then we're gonna get ready for row number 13. And 13 we're gonna start doing our drop downs again, and let's create some more spaces while we're at it. So to begin row number 13, you're gonna chain up 1 and you're gonna single crochet in the first 2, and then you're going to create a space. So chain 2, skip just 1 and single crochet in the next 2 after that. We're now going to drop down into the space. So single crochet drop like so, single crochet in the next single crochet, and then drop down in the next space. So the repeat pattern then for this is that you're going to create a space after this last drop down. So chain 2, skip the first one out and just single crochet in the next one and into the next one after that, just like that. So you have 2 in a row as you're carrying on, and now you're gonna drop down again. So drop down, single crochet in the next one, and then drop down in the next one and chain 2 space, skipping the first one out and single crochet in the next 2. So this is row number 13. Please do this and you will see that it's starting to glide even more this way. I'll see you at the end of this row. So I'm coming to the end of row number 13. I'm just dropping down where I need to, and I need to create the spaces where I have to as well. So at the end of number 13, just like you see here, is that we are just going to just apply in the next 2 stitches. So you're not actually jumping over any stitches when you do this last one. So just single crochet in the last 2 that's available. So that's kind of the only time you're not gonna skip over is when you're right here on row number 13. You're going to turn your work and then just fill in the spots where you need to. So single crochet in the stitches, and if it's chain 2 space, just chain 2 so that you can jump over those spaces to maintain. So this is row number 14, and please do this all the way across. I'll see you at the end of this row. When you get to the end of number 14, you are just going to switch back to the purple or whatever color you're working with, and let's turn our project and let's begin 15 and 16, which is the last of the repeat, and then you have to repeat this section 2 more times so that you have 3 sections of these. So let's begin to do that next. Let's begin row number 15. So chain up 1 and you are going to single crochet in the first 2, and you will notice that you will have a drop down right after that. So just drop down. So like before, you're just been shifted over by 1. So you're just going to chain 2, skip the first one out, single crochet in the next, chain 2, skip the next one, and then single crochet in the next 2 after that. Okay, so you see how it jumps up. So when you're following the prongs here, like you're gonna have 2 there. So continuing along, you're going to drop down, chain 2, skip the first one out, single crochet in the next, chain 2, skip the next one, and single crochet the next 2. So do that all the way across. This is row number 15, and then I'll see you back here in just a moment. To continue this one into row number 15 at the end, you were just single crocheting the remaining after you've done the repeat pattern, and so you will have 4 in a row that is single crochets at the very end. Turning your work. Number 16 is the final before the repeat starts all over again. So chaining up 1, match the stitch to stitch and spaces to space, and then I'll be right back and then we'll just talk about the repeats before moving on in this pattern. When you get to the end of number 16, obviously you're going to switch your work back here to the gray, and then we're going to continue again. So if I were you and you were me, I would just grab a stitch marker. So I'm just leaning over here behind the scenes. So now that we've got our repeat done, is that you have to do it a total 2 more times, and I just put a stitch marker on this last one so I can see the stitch repeats. So then I will have another one and then another one, so it'll be a total of 3. It'll help me keep in count. So whenever it looks like it will be up here again, because it's gonna start and it's gonna start forming just like you see, and then start doing a staircase. So get your repeat done before moving on in this tutorial, and then we'll kick up the next one where we'll go in the opposite direction. So let's begin row number 41, and we're gonna chain up 1 and we're gonna single crochet in the first 2, and the pair that you will see will be after this one here. So we have to chain 2 before we start the pair, that was gonna skip this stitch and then just jump down. Okay, then we're going to single crochet in the next, and then jumping down, and then single crochet after you have that, single crochet the next two. So you're not skipping after the pair is done, you're just immediately single crocheting, and you're going to skip over the last one of the grouping of 3, and that'll be the chain 2 and then drop like so. So this chaining 2 that we're doing right now, you will notice that the next time is that this purple will line completely up and then prepare it to go in the opposite lean. And so I want you to do this. This is row number 41, and just remember that the chain 2 spaces before the pair. I'm coming up to the end of 41, and the last 4 stitches are just a single crochet. There's no skipping of anything between the last drop down. Turn your work. Let's do 42. You know the routine. Just chain up 1 and 1 single crochet in each stitch where you need to, and if there's a chain 2 space, just make sure you have a chain 2 space and jump. Please do row number 42 next, and I will see you at the end of that, and we'll switch back to purple. Okay, coming up to the end of 42, just matching stitch to stitch, and then we're gonna get ready then and bring up our purple once again and switch back over, and let's turn this work, lay it flat, and let's begin then row number 43 and 44. Let's begin 43, chain up 1 and do 1 single crochet in the first 2 because the drop down should appear right after, and it does. So drop down and then chain 2 single crochets in a row, and before the next drop down that is appearing over here, you have to chain 2 first. So after you get 2 single crochets after the drop down, so then chain 2, skip the next one, chain 2, and you skip the next one, but the drop down is next. So just immediately just drop down after you get that next chain 2 in there. Do you see that? So single crochet the next 2 and then begin again. So chain 2, skipping the next, come down, and then chain 2, skipping the next, and it's a drop after that. So you want to drop down after that one. So please do this, and you will notice that the shift is now coming straight up just like this. So it's no longer going in this direction. Let's do this all the way across, and I'll see you at the end of row number 43. When you're coming up to the end of row number 43, you're just putting in your chain 2 spaces just where you exactly need to, and then the final 2 single crochets are in. So let's turn our work and do 44. 44, just matching your stitches. You know what to do at this point. Chain 1 and single crochet where you need to, and chain 2s where you need to jump. So single crocheting where you need to all the way back, and we're gonna switch back to your main color, and then we're gonna continue then to 45 and 46. Let's turn and lay flat, and let's observe, and let's continue along. Let's do 45. We're gonna chain up 1 and we'll put 4 single crochets in a row, and then you're going to do a chain 2, and then after that you're going to do your drop down. So you're skipping the last one of that one and just dropping just like that, single crochet in the next one, and then drop in the next. So after you have your pairs done of dropping, the first 2 out are gonna be a single crochet, chain 2, and then immediately then drop down into the next. So you're getting everything ready for the next rows that will appear. So do this all the way across, and I will see you at the end of 45, and then we'll turn and do 46s, which you already know it to be. At the end of number 45, you are just going to put in your 2 drop downs, but there's no spaces or anything after it, so just single crochet the final 2. So you would have noticed then in 45 you physically now see that it's starting to shift and go in the other direction like a boomerang. Let's turn our work and do the next row. 46, you already know what to do. Chain up 1, match your stitches, and chain 2s where you need to jump. Let's do 46 together. I'm coming up to the end of 46, matching my stitches, and guess what? We're reintroducing again the purple back into play, and let's begin row number 47 and 48. Let's do number 47, chain up 1 and 1 single crochet in the first 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and then chain 2, and then skipping the next one and then dropping. And once you've dropped, immediately single crochet in the next two, 1 and 2, and let's provide those chain 2 spaces that we already know of. So chain 2, skipping the next one, and then chain 2 and skipping the next one, and the next one is the drop down. So let's just drop and then single crochet in the next two, chain 2, single crochet, skip 1, single crochet the next, chain 2, and then you must drop. And please do that all the way across. This is row number 47, and we'll see at the end. At the end of number 47 on the other side, you're going to chain 2, and then so you do your drop down, you have 2 singles, you're gonna chain 2, skip only 1, and then 2 singles in the final 2. Let's do number 48. You know what to do. Just chain up 1 and just fill in those spots and jump where you need to. Let's do number 48 together. Okay, at the end of number 48, just matching stitch to stitch, we're then going to get ready and switch back to the main color, and then we'll begin, lay it down, and let's begin number 49 and 50. Okay, let's begin 49 first. We're gonna chain up 1 and we're gonna single crochet in the first 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then drop like so. Single crochet. What we have in the next, we're going to single crochet in the next 2, 1 and 2, and then we're gonna create a space first. So chain 2 and then drop. Okay, so you're skipping this one right here. So then drop, single, and drop, and then single crochet in the next 2, 1 and 2, and then provide another space. So chain 2 and then drop, skipping this one and then drop, single crochet in the next, and then drop. Just like that. Fabulous, eh? So let's continue then. This is 49. So I'm coming up to the very end of the row. This is row number 49, and I'm doing the final drop down, and then you're not gonna skip any stitches of course after, because you've just skipped before this one, and single crochet the final 2. Row number 50, you know what to do. Turn your work and let's match our stitches and our chain 2 spaces together. So let's do that, and then I will see you, and then 51 and 52 is next, which will be the end of the repeat for this particular lean, and then you can return back to continue it even further if you would like to. So I'm at the end of number 50. Let's switch back and let's do, lay this down, and let's do 51 and 52, which will be the end of the repeat. And you can see that it's been swaying and then it swayed back in this particular section, and if you wanted to re-pick it back up in the bottom one, you can keep on swaying up and down. Pretty cool. Let's begin 51 and 52. So let's do 51. So chain up 1 and 1 single crochet in the first 3. So 1, 2 and 3, and let's provide our spaces. So chain 2, skipping 1, single in the next, chain 2, skipping this one, and the next one has to be a drop down like so. So let's do our repeat. So continuing along, we're single crochet in the next 2, 1 and 2, chain 2, skip 1, single crochet in the next, chain 2, skip 1, and the next one has to be a drop, and this is number 51 going all the way across. Please do this, and I'll see you at the end of 51. So I'm coming up all the way to the end. I've just done my final drop down, and then I'm just doing the final 3 single crochets that are left. So turning your work, this is row number 52, chaining 1 and just fill in your spots that you need, single crochets or chain 2 spaces. Please do this all the way across, and this will be the end of the repeat, and we'll just recap really shortly, and then we'll leave the rest for you, and then this tutorial is complete for today. I'm coming up to the end of number 52. We do need to switch our color, and we're gonna come back to the main color. So at this point you either have a decision to make. You are either at the end of the final repeat of this section, or you need to repeat all over again. If you were at the end of this repeat section that you've done this section that I just showed you 3 times, then you can just safely cut this yarn. And if not, then you want to repeat again. So at this point you're going to need to go backward, and what I would recommend, just like I told you before, if this is the first time through, just mark it with a stitch marker here and then just do it again and again, and you will end up with a big chevron just like it shows in the photograph. So at this point we're gonna quickly stop, and then we're going to then restart back up because we have to finish off this section before we can move on in the Afghan to something new. So this is the conclusion of this section, and we're going to then just finish this off. So we're just gonna chain up 1. We're going to apply 1 single crochet in each of the stitches except for the chain 2 spaces. You're going to just drop down. So you're not gonna provide any additional spaces on this row. Just fill it in. So dropping down, single crochet in the next, and then dropping down, and then single crochet the remaining that you have, and just drop down where you need to, and then just, and it will be a nice solid row by the time you get all the way across. And then we'll just quickly go back with the return pass, and that's today's video done. So coming all the way across on the 0 pass, coming across as we finish, and so everything has a single crochet or a drop down, so there's no spaces. And then to return back to where we had started, it's just chain 1 and 1 single crochet into each, and please do that all the way across, and that will conclude this section, and we'll be right back for just a quick recap. I've just single crocheted myself all the way back, and now this whole section is done. So we have a nice clean edge, and let me just back you out here as we concluding today. And so we have a nice clean edge. We're actually supposed to repeat this a total of 3 times, and if you look at a real sample, this is actually the real size of it, so you can see it's a lot bigger because it's 3 sections, and then you would have gone back in the other direction. So I actually have that sample done too, just like this. Neat, right? So we actually started this way and then we finished off going this way. So together it works about 22 inches as the distance. But as you can see that if you follow that and wanted to repeat this over and over, if you don't do the return passes to finishing, you could have actually just had a nice lazy wave just kind of moving up on your Afghan like that. So that would have been pretty neat too. So we're gonna leave you here, and then I'll see you on week number 3 as we begin our journey, and we're gonna continue then as we're gonna grow this Afghan bigger. So I'll see you next week. Have a good one.
So that's it for week number 2. This is a big week. I'm not even gonna deny it. It's one of those ones where you have to just take your time and just kind of like figure how things are working. And once you start seeing the repeats, hopefully that will make sense to you to be able to progress. So the neat thing about it is that though I showed you going up and then back in the other direction, if you really wanted to and you wanted to extend it to make it taller, you can actually literally go back again and then up again. So you just can keep adding to this particular idea if you really, really wanted to. So on behalf of my friends over at Joanne.com as well as here at the Crochet Crowd, if you're using our social media platforms, please use our hashtags of Handmade with Joanne as well as the Crochet Crowd. And you know what? We'll see you next week, week number 3, as we continue our journey together with you. We'll see you and have a great week.